Hi and welcome to Out Past the Rings, Volume 62. Today we're gonna travel back in time to an era when Respire was unknown. Well, let's go ahead and do that. So, Hey, I'm from the past because I got a different shirt on. Okay, so, where to begin? Well, we should probably discuss the fact that we're talking about Respire's Gravity and Grace debut 12-inch LP that came out on November the 22nd, 2016. Whoa, big story. Let's start with Fox Mulder. As 3/4 of Fox Mulder, well, Fox Mulder, while they were still a band, had the instrumental members create a new group of a bunch of friends from a whole bunch of different, we'll say, genre backgrounds, and created Respire. So those two bands overlapped for maybe, I want to say like 2 years, maybe even up to 3. So basically M, who was in Fox Mulder, is not in Respire, but you got Travis on drums, Rohan on guitar, and then you had Derek on bass in Fox Mulder, and they all moved over to Respire with them playing the same instruments, except for Darren, who moved to second, or if you want to say, third guitar. So as Respire started to play more shows and stuff, they released a little demo thing with a video of the demo version of Eternal Nothing, although it was called something else back then. I forget what it was called. I was like, oh yeah, this is pretty cool. I don't know how much I like it. So that's, I think, the next funny part is, I believe I said something along the lines of, well, they asked, Dave, do you want to help release the new Respire LP when it's finished? And I was like, I will have to listen to it to make sure that it's good enough for ZBR, or basically just would I like it enough to want to invest the money. Because I hadn't heard all the songs, they hadn't been recorded, I only heard a couple of songs live, thoroughly enjoyed it, and then they sent me the LP and something just clicked. I went from being, I really like this, to I absolutely love this. And I didn't know what I was getting into. I didn't know Respire was going to, spiral off and do even greater things after this LP. But that's amazing. That's fantastic. So at the beginning, I couldn't get any label help. Holy smokes, was this hard to find people to want to invest in the 12-inch. Turned down by almost every single label that I had asked, which would have been at least 40 labels. We got Dingleberry from Germany on board because Tim's a sweetie. And then we also got Ozona Records on board from the US. And then we were kind of humming and hawing like, how are we going to pull this off? And luckily, one of the last labels I hit up in Arsharda in Germany were like, we love this, we want 100 copies. And I remember that day hitting up the band, be like, we got a Euro label, they want 100 copies, we are set to go! Super excited, they were super excited. We got the thing pressed in Germany through Arsharda, actually. And it came out to a warm reception. I don't think a lot of people got it, and I think it's important to note, Egan actually brought it up in a recent podcast. They started with Pitter Patter, which is a almost 4-minute instrumental track. Doesn't really do the band justice, when you're on playing a screamo people. Some people have very short attention spans, and they would probably get to 1 to 2 minutes and be like, this is just like slow, it's like Godspeed or Mogwai maybe, or something like that. And I wouldn't be surprised if some people just gave up, and that's too bad on them, because they missed one hell of an album. Now, I think there's something else to note here about the record labels. Ozona Records didn't help us out very much. I guess the guy who was running the label was taken to court from an ex, and right after we initially put up the pre-orders or orders, they were like, oh, we have to pay for our court fees. Look at that, the LP is $3. So everyone bought from Ozona. depleting their stock immediately, and I was left with a lot of copies. But that was okay, because over time people really understood that Respire is amazing, and Respire was selling a lot of records too. They had to buy some back, so we ran out of the first press. I think it's important to note also that Ascent was premiered on a Zampler before this, so it was out a few months before the album was out. I remember being super stoked because, let's be honest, Ascent is amazing. It should also, I think, be noted that this entire album, half the album, is, in my opinion, as good as anything the band wrote afterwards. Getting mad kudos everywhere about the new album, and I went back again and listened to Ascent, Waltz, and Eternal Nothing, and I will die on that, whatever the expression is. I will die on that hill, defending that these are some of the best Respire tracks ever recorded. There's something about the infancy of it all. Not that it sounds early in any respect. It's amazing they were able to write such progressive, incredibly dense, yet engaging and long songs in such a... I mean, they will tell you that this is the first few years of their existence kind of compacted into one LP, but anyway, I think it's absolutely fantastic. Now, this would lead us to the release show. There were two release shows, technically. The first one, the primary one, maybe I'm getting this wrong. I think the first one might have even been the Hamilton show that I got to play. I couldn't find the poster. I ripped the house apart trying to look for it. Sasha from Life in Vacuum made it. Fantastic poster. That was a house show at, I believe, one of the Terry Green people's house. Lewis, if I remember correctly. That was a whole lot of fun. And then shortly after or before was the Toronto release show, where they played the album front to back with the entire extended family. Everyone was there. I filmed all the songs. They made like a compilation video of the entire thing. It's fantastic. It should also be noted that this was recorded and mixed too, I don't know, by Paul Mack, aka The Ultimate Hugger. They went on a European tour shortly after this, before the whole denouement thing kind of exploded, for which I have their Euro tour poster, because I went on the Non-Murtex tour in 2016 and met up with them when they were in, was it Cologne? No, it was Munich, I believe. And, well, that was an interesting show for a couple of reasons. Well, one main one, really. They were played last. Love Lust had played just before them. Someone accidentally let off a pepper spray can and maced the back of the concert venue and the show venue, and we all had to leave the building. And after about 30 to 45 minutes, a large amount of people left. Number one, due to the fact that it was getting really late, and number two, because, for example, one attendee who had come was super excited to see Respire, but the last bus home was before Respire was even able to play because of that whole fiasco. So that was a huge bummer. And I remember 2 to 3 minutes in thinking, uh-oh, this is the worst Respire set I've ever seen. And then, for whatever reason, like, after that 3 minutes in Ascent, they clicked, and it was one of the best shows that I've ever seen. I posted a live video in the congratulations on your impending vacation tour documentary. They're throwing the guitars over their heads and stuff, and it's, I don't know what came, I think they were just like, fuck it, and they just went for it, and it really worked, because it was, oh man, like tearing up just thinking about it. Speaking of shows, there was a lot of Respire shows. There was this amazing one that happened at Nate from No Funerals place in Cambridge. Respire, La Luna, Black Love, Terry Green, The World That Summer. Not a bad lineup. What else did we have? Oh, look at this one that I put on when I was in Hamilton. That's Julian Carter, Hammerhands, The World That Summer, and Respire. Not too shabby. Do we have any more here? Oh, yes, look at that. They also played ZBR Fest 2017, a.k.a. Goodbye Toronto from Dave Norman. So we did this again. Sasha did the art for this, and they closed the first official night. Holy smokes, that's a pretty good lineup. Yeah, I really miss Respire. I used to see them all the time at shows and stuff too. And now that I'm on the other side of the country, I saw Rohan. Rohan came to visit, and it was awesome for about 30 minutes. But I'm really glad I got to see him. Okay, it's probably time to show and talk about all of the pressings because this might take a couple minutes. This is already running kind of long. So let's get to it! First press. 200 white, 100 black. No issues with this press. Second press on clear. Lots of issues. Okay, so this, holy smokes. So this happened because I moved to New Zealand for 4 months and had my second press shipped to, I can't remember, Canada or New Zealand. Anyway, they got to New Zealand, no issues. Sold like one because I couldn't sell anything in New Zealand while I was there. And then I flew back to Canada on the other end of the country and didn't come back with all the boxes. I brought my personal, super important stash on the airplane with me, but I had, 2 boxes of 12 inches and 7 inches that needed to come back. So, my good friend Jurg in Swallow's Nest sent all my stuff home, all my family stuff home. So, big props to Jurg, and Lana too, I'm sure helped. So, first 3 boxes were all shipped separately, all came through back to Canada, no problem. What was in there? Clothes, boots, nothing of importance. But then, the last box was the records. And for whatever reason, at some point, from the time it was dropped off at the post office to the time I got to Canada, was either left out or dropped in the rain, and that entire box was pretty much a write-off, including the entire second press of the Gravity and Grace. So here is what some of the jackets came out like afterwards. I believe this is even one of the worst ones, but I mean, like, the whole thing is just warped, bent. It looks pretty horrible. So I asked the band if it would be okay if I were to do an alternate cover just to try to compensate us for the records, because not only were they shipped to New Zealand and then back from New Zealand, and then all of the jackets were ruined, not to mention the other like 100 records that I've had to just give away to people in orders because like they're just, anyway, not good. So we had Nate from No Funeral whip up some kind of like alternate covers with this thing, using some paints. Very nicely done. And what I did was I printed out and made some alternate versions with this one on black, and then we also did an inverted on white. These are very, very rare. I think we only did 13 total, and I have 2 of them, and the rest of them we sold. And I did have a Respire box that I was selling until it got like bought twice, and then the person was like, I don't want it anymore, and I was like, I am tired of this. And boy am I glad that I checked, because I did not have any of the first press of Respire saved for myself. So glad I have that. But it also means that I have 1 extra alternate cover Gravity and Grace inverted color 12-inch, which I just put back up in the store for, what, let's say $40, because number 1, very rare, number 2, I lost so much money on those. So that brings us to the third press, which I think worked out very nicely, no issues here, and most definitely the nicest of all of the presses, with the half white, half black, nice heavy vinyl, really good stuff. Oh, I should mention that Middleman jumped on the most latest pressing of Gravity and Grace, as Ozono was out the door for good reason. Okay. Is there anything else for me to talk about? I think that's it. Oh my god! Their new album Black Lion came out a few weeks ago, so if you hadn't checked that out, definitely check it out. We have the 1 copy of this 12-inch now in stock, as well as the third press with the half and halves. We are getting low though, so I wouldn't wait too long. I expect them all to be gone by the end of 2021, because, Black Line and the fourth LP that's already like half written. All right, so I guess next we'll do the next Zampler, which would be Zampler number 7, I believe, that Sean Harrison Hancock did the art for. Anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself. I'll see you soon. Respire. Oh, let's go back in time again. What just happened?